Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing scary movie.
And Maa Behen.
Okay, so I'll start, okay?
Neglecting my children so I can prepare to kill Ghostface should he ever return. What about you?
Well, I've been mostly just getting high school kids drunk in a desperate attempt to stay young and keep my kids at home.
I always knew you'd be a great mom.
Oh, Cindy. Should we hug?
Oh, I really want to, but I'm a Republican
I
now.
was
so
genuinely
I'm supposed
looking
to be-
forward to this movie, you know? Like, we've been talking about horror for like 3 or 4 weeks now, right? And I have been like so happy with what's coming out and how well things are doing.
Yeah.
And to see this movie come out and be like, okay, there is so much things to make fun of. Like horror is such at like a visible genre right now. It's doing so well.
Yeah.
There is so much opportunity for the Wayans brothers to come back and like genuinely really deliver something really fun and good. And also like again following on from like films like The Naked Gun, which came out last year, which I thought was genuinely really good. I was hyped.
And so hyped that you told me, the notorious non-horror movie-going person, to go and watch it. And then very ceremoniously said, don't watch it. And that was it.
So I told you, like, yeah, you should go watch it because I think there's plenty of to talk about because I think there's so much of like parody as a genre itself and like how it summarizes genre conventions really well. And there's so much to talk about. And like even with the idea of this film, what going for, I was like, there's so much to talk about. And then I watched the movie and I was like, no, I don't want Anina to go through this. I don't think this is worth it. I genuinely don't. I like my friend and I don't think they should suffer like this.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, very basically, Scary Movie is basically the sixth film in the franchise.
Mhm.
They've called it Scary Movie like the same way that Scream 6 just called itself Scream.
Yeah.
It's written by the Wayans brothers alongside Rick Alvarez, and it's directed by Michael Tides, who's done other parody comedy films as well.
Okay.
Now, there's no plot for me to really describe to you here
Hmm.
because the film doesn't really care about the plot it has. The plot is just a tool for the film to make gags.
Oh, I see. No, I already don't like that.
And I think that can work really well for a parody movie if the entire point of, I mean, there is a narrative.
Right.
The narrative is just paper thin and doesn't really do much aside from the very last 5 minutes where is saying something, I guess.
Okay, well then.
Just it's very paper thin. It just goes from one place to another. The honest part is if you try to follow the narrative of this film, you'll just end up confused and also like disengaged from it. I don't think there's a point.
Okay, so you're just sat there in a cinema going, what am I watching?
Yeah, but the point is for the jokes to help, right? There. The jokes to be like
Yeah.
you're just watching the narrative be this way to get from one joke sequence to the next joke sequence.
Right.
For that, you need the jokes to be really good. And the thing is, I did laugh at this movie 5 or 6 times in the 90-hour runtime. And listen, I'll be honest, okay? I'll be fully honest. A lot of people will give me flack for being like, yeah, I have not watched all of these films. I've vaguely watched the first one a while back. It came out in the year 2000.
Sure.
And this, after Scary Movie 5, which came out in 2013, like, this is a film that's come back 13 years later, right?
Right.
Again, it's a revival a la the same Scream franchise as well, right? My biggest issue with this film is there are like 4 types of jokes, okay, in this film.
Okay.
I think the ones that work best are the racial humor,
Mm-hmm.
especially around like black and white people in America and all of those things, which I think is funny and often does land, very
Sure.
honestly. Not even if it's like weak, it's not like you'll get a, you know, you might not get a laugh out loud, but you'll get a little nose chuckle out of it, like a nose exhale out of
Like
it.
a little you're amused kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the Wayans brothers are decent at doing that. The second type of joke in this film is drugs and sex and alcohol.
Ah.
Basically, that's the second type of joke in this film. That's it. There's nothing much to it other than that for me to really go into.
It's like when I was in the cinema today and these 2 characters were about to kiss and these 2 12-year-old boys behind me started giggling. It's that.
Yeah, it's just that where like someone just keeps popping bottles of drugs and just throwing them to the side, and the whole joke is like they're on so much drugs. Or like Marlon Way's character Shorty is just always high, and the joke is just hey, I'm high. There's not really much more that I can add there.
Right.
The third type of joke which I did find the most grating because it felt the most lazy, very honestly, is young people and their language and their pronouns.
Oh my fucking god.
Because I'm like, oh my god, incredible. You made the same joke 200 other people have already made in the last 5 years. Thank you for being so original. I think ChatGPT could have come up with something better, very honestly.
Yeah, I think those jokes, well, to begin with, they weren't funny unless they were done by like actual queer people.
Yeah, because I think you can make very funny jokes
Exactly.
about trans people. Like, I think all of the jokes should be made.
Exactly.
Because that's really funny. It's just you're not good at making them. I'm so sorry. And it's like, what hurts me is like Marlon Wayne has talked about like having a trans son.
Right.
And the route to acceptance and all of those things.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, Marlon Wayne, come on, then do better than this. Your jokes can't be like, now you identify as dead. Like, that's just such fucking weak sauce.
Yeah, I just saw a video of him today, like calling Elon Musk out for not accepting his trans child. And this is just like, well, Marlon, you're not doing anything to help.
It's just like, I just want you to do better than this, right? Or just like, oh my God, you're upholding the patriarchy. And again, I don't still think you understand how to make this funny.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways to do it, and you're just bad at it. I think it can be very funny. Like, I think there's this YouTube short series, the coffee shop, Brooklyn Barista,
Yes.
something. Yes, and it's so good because the entire joke is woke people making fun of themselves. Right?
Exactly.
It's that you're so woke that it becomes, and those are funny. I laugh at them all the time. And most of those jokes are also gender, pronouns, class, all of those things.
Exactly. It boils down to punching down.
Yeah. Boils down to laziness,
Yeah.
I think, honestly.
No, punching
very much
down
so.
is laziness because the people easiest and like simplest to make fun of are people who you believe to be quote unquote lower than you.
Yeah, yeah. And the fourth joke in this film is stupid and you're stupid for watching it.
Sure.
Which sometimes lands in the sense of like, oh, we would have talked about It Follows, but no one really saw that film. Like, that's why we're not referencing that horror movie because no one cared and it was kind of confusing. Like, or like just joking about like any film that's too avant-garde and no one really watched it or something. Or like at the very start, it does open with something humorous. Like Ghostface tries to kill Kiki Palmer and she goes like, I'm fucking Kiki Palmer. And he goes like, but you didn't get that Oscar though. Some of those are fine. Like, they're not necessarily the highest elevated jokes, but they're fine. But again, the reason I was like, don't watch this is because it just feels lazy to me most of the time, where so much of the jokes just boil down to, I am referencing the horror movie and that is what's funny about this film.
Right.
Like, two direct examples is it references Megan, this film about the protective doll that comes to life and like tries to kill people.
Yes.
Where the entire joke is just Megan on the tube and she just does multiple backflips and then it's just revealed to be Ghostface. Or The Substance, where the joke is it's a substance. Not really much more than that. There is an extra joke which is white chicks, but then again the joke is, look, white chicks. You didn't expect the movie White Chicks to be referenced. Firstly, like, it is a Wayans brother film, so probably it's not unheard of for that to happen.
Yeah.
But the joke is another movie. I'm like, really? Like, you couldn't find any other jokes in here? So, yeah, like, I just came out of this being like, there were people laughing in my theater, and good for them who were. I'm sorry, but when horror films are doing so well, being so elevated, are like genuinely feeling so refreshing, and people are going to them, for the parody to feel so lackluster and feel like it's still, basically the issue becomes, you're parodying horror movies which have moved on and have reinvented themselves and refreshed themselves for modern audiences with a parody that still feels like it's 20 years old.
Right. So the genre has adapted. The parody of the genre has not.
Yeah. And again, it boils down to because the people making it are the same people who made the ones that were 20 years old.
Exactly.
And ran them to the ground.
But the people making the genre films aren't.
Are not. Yeah. Exactly. And again, this is another example of why the Naked Gun works really well. Because the Naked Gun is made by people like, I forgot the names, but the people like one of the people from Lonely Island and other people as well, who are actively newer talent and actively understand like where those current genres are and what current comedy is like. And that's why that film works so well, because again, it understands the current audience has moved on and you need to adapt to it instead of again making a film that's 20 years old. It still feels like it just with modern language.
Yeah, it's not just people who are like looking at trends or looking at, you know, the thing that's the most talked about and being like, oh, okay, let's try and make this funny. Or in some cases, it sounds like just straight up stealing jokes. from other people.
Yeah, I think at the very end though, it does have a little good bit to leave on, which is like talking about how franchises just keep going on, and like how these new people are always brought on to replace these older characters in franchises. And in terms response to that, the older like they establish the OGs basically of the scary movie franchise kind of just kill off the newer characters and just leave them in the house, and they're just like we're not going anywhere, which I think is funny and think does comment on certain levels of satire and parody and all of those things as well. My issue being like you can read it as like that the regurgitation of some certain things and like just like, but also becomes the idea of like we don't want to change it. I think what we left off is fine.
Yeah, it's kind of that stagnancy.
Yeah, that stagnancy, right? And the other part of that is also this thing of you're not injecting any new blood to it. And if the point of this was to be like, you can't critique something for like things keep going on and on and on, and we don't need to reinvent things and everything or leave things be and then remake a movie that didn't need to be made then. Like,
Right.
again, you're also like feeding into it.
Yeah.
Like, if this film does well enough, there will probably be a sequel. And again, like, you can so far make a parody and like critique something and then engage it in the exact same thing yourself. It kind of just defeat the purpose of it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. I'm just glad I didn't watch it now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's it. I don't have really much more to add to that.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, it's very fascinating that you watched film from a genre that you've liked quite like consistently, but have been recently disappointed by. I watched a film from a genre/region that I have been consistently disappointed by, but I am quite surprised that I like this one.
We want films to be good. I think neither of us go to any cinema room wanting a film to be bad.
Exactly.
Or wanting to dislike something.
Exactly. So I watched Maa Behen, which translates to Mother Sister, which is a Hindi language kind of Bollywood film, which just released on Netflix on the 4th. And it's directed by Suresh Triveni.
जोर से छींके अभी मजाक सूझ रहा है तुमको हाँ जय देखो देख छींकेगा
And I don't know, I just kind of started watching this film. I was like, oh, it's new on Netflix. I have nothing to do. Let me just watch it. I'm not expecting to be like impressed or wowed away or whatever. But I was very pleasantly impressed and surprised. So this film stars Madhuri Dixit, Tripti Dimri, and...
It stars Madhuri Dixit.
Yeah.
How can we not be friends?
Exactly. And Dharna Durga in the main roles. And Madhuri Dixit plays the mother Rekha. And just as a little side note here, the characters' names are Rekha, Jaya, and Sushma. And there's a Hema in there as well, which is from a Nirma washing powder commercial, like from ages ago, that just like played in my mind every single time I heard their names in these movies. But that washing powder commercial is also a reference to like 4 of Bollywood's biggest heroines of a certain period.
So like weirdly that reference, I don't know if that reference is niche or not. Well, considering like Nirma washing powder is something that a lot of people probably won't know of. One reason also most people don't watch ads anymore on their TVs in that same way. But also like India is a population of like 1.2 billion people, so probably it's not really that niche.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to the plot. Madhuri Dixit plays Rekha, the mother to Tripti Dimri's Jaya and Dharna Durga's Sushma. And how the plot basically functions is Rekha calls up Jaya and Sushma in the middle of the night and goes, our neighbor Gupta ji is dead in my house. You need to come now.
Okay, that's a good instigator, yes.
Right? So they obviously show up and it's a big deal because they are all estranged from each other. The sisters are estranged from each other and they are estranged from their mother as well. They do not have a good relationship. And that is mainly because of the villainization of Rekha by the colony. So a colony is, for context, is like what you call housing cooperatives or clusters in India. And essentially what happened is that Rekha, when she showed up to this colony as a newlywed, was wearing a sleeveless blouse. So she was, deemed a...
Scandalous.
Exactly. She was deemed a promiscuous and like galich woman. Galich kind of means like filthy or disgusting. And I don't know if you've seen Madhuri Dixit
Or
in a
like
sleeveless.
basic. So I don't know the exact word, but I was also thinking of trashy. Trashy would also
Exactly.
be a kind
Yeah.
of way to describe it.
And I don't know if you've ever seen Madhuri Dixit in a sleeveless blouse, but she just looks sexy.
He is Madhuri freaking Dixit. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. And so essentially this kind of image of this mother kind of falls onto the daughters as well, because she has to raise them as a single mom. And single mothers are anyway not, treated well in a lot of conservative Indian societies or like
Yes.
sections of the society, especially because, and this in this case especially, it gets enhanced, the bad treatment and the bad image, because of Rekha's quote unquote promiscuity, and it kind of falls onto the children as well, onto the daughters as well, where Jaya is the daughter of her husband.
Sins of the mother.
Yeah, where Jaya is the daughter of the husband who died early, but Sushma is not. She's the daughter of an unnamed man. So it kind of builds that image, and the kind of stories that the people in the colony make up about, or used to make up about Rekha, of her like kind of trying to seduce the neighbor man Gupta ji since the moment she arrived, or like purposefully massaging her husband in public so that it would kind of send the men into lustful frenzies or whatever, kind of translate onto the daughters as well.
These are such prime, these close colony rumors. Like it's also I think I want to emphasize so anyone who's like outside and doesn't understand the social nature of a housing colony thing. These are not like rich people housing colonies necessarily, where everyone's like really rich and has gated communities. These are like much more middle class people. It's just how the way the housing society is built
Exactly.
up.
And everyone is in everyone's business at any given point of time. Not to say that only exists in the middle classes, it exists throughout.
It exists everywhere.
Yeah.
Panchat is the pastime.
Exactly. Which essentially means gossip.
Okay.
Right. And so basically, so we're at this scene where this man is apparently dead, but spoiler alert, we find out he's not actually dead. He's just knocked out.
Us.
Yeah. And the rest of the movie is spent trying to figure out why Rekha does not want to let this man go and keeps drugging him with cough syrup to knock him out, and then ties him up and then kind of just gets her daughters to basically participate and leaves him in a room. So it
becomes less of a who done it, more of a why done it, or why doing it.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a bit of a suspicious kind of thing of like, and it's a mix of we're finding out who these women are actually without the gossip, without the rumors, without this like air of scandal surrounding them. But we're also like a little bit suspicious of them, because why is the mother trying to keep this man drugged? What evidence does she need to get rid of, as she mentions it, right? And so
I don't care. It's Madhuri Dixit. Why would you?
I know, right? I support women's rights and wrongs. And and we find out things like the fact that Jaya is married to this man Manas in a really horrible family. Like her in-laws are horrible. All they want her for is to make rotis for them, which is essentially just make food for them. And Sushma is this kind of like online influencer who is being exploited by Manas, and they have this weird kind of sexual persona online, but it's kind of weird because they're brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And
this feels weirdly camp, but also like I feel a lot of the comedy comes from the film realizing how over the top certain elements are.
Exactly. It shows these kind of behaviors as stupid and like dumb through the campness of it, right? Through the campness of the performances as well. But I think I'm not going to like describe the entire plot because it gets really complicated at one point, but there are certain moments in this film that stand out. And one of them is when Jaya is Manas has come to their house and is like so close to finding out what is happening, and she kind of just snaps and she starts screaming at him and yelling at him and becoming kind of vicious, and he picks up a slipper to hit her. She snatches the slipper from his hand and starts threatening him and basically chases him out of her house.
The Indian woman with a slipper in her hand is dangerous. It's like a weapon of mass destruction.
Exactly. And I think the performance given by Tripti Dimri here is beautiful. It is a perfect mix of comedy and rage. While you feel for her, you feel the anger, you can't help but laugh because of the kinds of insults. I have never heard such insults and curses in my life.
Amazing.
Yeah, so a lot of these films,
and again, the insults in your own language just hurt so much more better. Like they're just so much more fun, creative.
Exactly. So a lot of the comedy in this film does rely on kind of insults and like cheap shots and stuff. But I think, like you said, the campness of it kind of works in its favor. And the message, the ultimate like goal to basically humanize these women, rehumanize these women, isn't ever forgotten, which is what I was shocked by.
That's really nice.
At the end of the day, it places the blame solely on the men, and not even the other women in this colony, not even the other women in this colony, on the men who insist on demonizing and kind of continuously representing these women as everything being the woman's fault.
Yeah.
So I think it was really, really great. I think the ending scene is really touching as well. There's not much in this film that is touching, but the ending is. I nearly cried.
Oh.
So I think it overall, I just really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it's the unexpectedness of it that I'm still reeling from, or why I enjoyed it a little bit more. But you know what? I'll take it. I gave it a 1-star more solely because of the unexpectedness of liking it so much.
That's so fair. I'm also like, again, it's like Madhuri Dixit who's doing so like incredible stuff. Like, she was in 2 other films before like this, but I think the last film we watched of her was Majama.
Yes.
Which also like
in which she's a lesbian.
So good in. Yeah, like honestly, Madhuri Dixit has never stopped being like this incredible icon of Bollywood, and like you just watch anything she's in. Like I know you've told me so many other things about this film, and I'm just stuck on a singular element.
No, it's kind of
any film she is, it's also just an elevated film, the better movie, because I trust her to be in good films, and that's the point as well.
Exactly. She's been a queer icon. She cemented it by playing a queer role. She's been a feminist icon. She cemented that by playing so many feminist roles. And kind of, I like seeing women on screen kind of be, especially in Bollywood cinema, be just be the leech, be horrible, and have it be like,
if you have space for men to do that, you should have space for women to do that. Exactly.
I will note that while this was directed by a man, Suresh, it was written solely by a woman, Pooja Tolani.
Yes, I saw that, and I think that shows up.
Exactly. It makes so much of a difference to have it written by a woman who probably has experienced something like this, because none of what like the colony was like, how they were like demonizing these women, sounded out of the box or like too out there. It all sounded very reasonable, like the kind of depictions of them as a witch or kind of who puts curses on. I've heard it all before. We've all heard it all before. So it comes from a place of knowing, and you can feel that.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, I do honestly want to watch this now, because it sounds like something that would be very just like a fun thing to put on.
Absolutely.
And,
I would recommend it.
Yeah,
I would recommend it for people who finally want to watch a Bollywood film that isn't like sends you cringing or like in disgust.
It's also just not catered towards the demographic of action hero man, like, you know, very much so. Like, not that like necessarily that needs to be a bad thing, but you need, not everyone wants the same
it's
thing.
also not too like women power in your face.
Yeah, it's nuanced in its understanding of womanhood because it's written by a woman.
Exactly. So yeah, I would definitely watch it on Netflix. It just released. It doesn't have that many logs yet. I don't think that many people have watched it, but I definitely think you should.
So yeah, those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. If you enjoyed this, please do share it. See you again next time.
Bye-bye.